Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black City Pod, featuring your usual host, David,
That's him.
and his loyal co host, Steven.
I don't
We
know
have a
what.
special guest
Well, okay.
with us today. Why don't you introduce yourself, Mr. Blue?
What's up? What's up? You know, it's your boy Johnny Blue. What it do? Um, yeah, I'm here for I'm what do I say? I'm Johnny Blue. I stream and stuff. Longtime friend of David here, and semi longtime friend of Steven here
A
as
friend
well.
of the pod, even.
Yeah,
Friend of the pod.
friend of the
Wow.
pod.
Well,
But yeah, that's me.
we're glad to have you here today because we're going over something that we're all vaguely familiar with the Scarlet and Violet DLC Wave 1 of 2. The trainer and the teal mask. I couldn't think of anything clever. Just the teal mask DLC. It's here.
Nerd.
Oh, well, why don't you think of something cool then, huh? Mr. I'll lead the podcast this episode.
Pokemon Gen 9. Teal Masker.
Pokemon mask off, bro.
You know.
Ooh. Hold up. That's clean.
It was right in front of us all along. It's been revealed.
Pokemon mask off. That's a t-shirt.
For someone.
I'd wear it.
I am Ogrepon game.
Isn't there a meme of a future with like his hand to his face too? Just put the mask in his hand. Boom. Perfect, bro.
It's all there. Hopefully by the time this comes out, future will still be relevant. Mumble rap is eternal. But speaking of eternal, let's God damn it. Don't all right, I'll post that later. So today we're talking about the Teal Mask DLC, the entirety of it from the beginning to the end. The three of us have played up into we beat the main story and we beat most of the main quest. There are a couple of things that are probably left out that some of us haven't done. I think David has done the most out of all three of us. We'll find out.
Finished everything.
He has finished everything. So we will have the entire, we're laying it down tonight. Leave you the whole scoop on what this was worth it, I guess, even though you have to buy both. So that just whether maybe entice you to buy it early. Yeah, there we go. So let's break it down in the most broadest sense possible, and the part you guys all care about. Start with the map itself, right? So yeah. So we're you start off in the Teal Mask, you get an entirely new location to explore and find new Pokemon. And I'm gonna be honest, I like this map. I like it a lot. It's pretty bare. Don't get me wrong, but so is the main map. But it's a little bit more condensed, I'll say. And there's a little bit more nooks and crannies to explore as well to make it at least interesting for the 3 hours or so you're going to be playing this game. Or DLC, I'll say.
Yeah, I actually really liked, and I like you said, it was bare, but I really did like how it made sense in that this was a not fully industrialized island. And I know this might sound like Pokemon Company Cope, but I liked the barren wasteland biome, and I liked the Crystal Lake at the top of the mountain and the whole path up to it with the Slugma and the Coughing and just Pokemon that made sense there that we didn't get a chance to see shine in the main game.
Yeah.
So a lot of the biomes made sense. Yeah, it was a bit bare, but I think it fit the setting really well.
I think the smaller size definitely assisted with that, since you have these smaller biomes that are kind of like naturally kind of form into each other, and you're able to do you can fill them out since there's a lot less stuff to fill out with. Like you don't have these broad like the giant mountain, I'll say the snow mountain, is Glossado or whatever. But that whole a lot of those areas are pretty they are bare. There's nothing going on. There's barely any Pokemon spawning. It is just an area. But because you have these more condensed spaces, you can do a lot of unique, architecture. You can have a lot of unique areas or certain spawns that show up in interesting places. So it's a little bit more engaging, even though it is a little bit, it's still got the Gen 9 DNA, but it's a little bit, more bite-sized experience ends up that's Game Freak's kind of forte anyway, so it kind of works out in their favor, I'll say.
Yeah, I was kind of gonna touch on what you guys are saying, that I like the condensedness of the map. Because like I've actually found myself exploring more in this area than I did like regular Paldea. Granted, this was my second playthrough, which is a long story. But yeah, I liked being able to like go to a smaller area and still find little nooks and crannies that stuff was hidden in.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, like, an example of this, the like forest area in like the northern part of the map, I didn't even explore that until I was done with the main story at
Yep.
all.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because the map it's not small, but it's smaller, and for us to still have that exploration aspect because of the different biomes, I think it was a really good touch. So I think they did a good job with this, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think to add to that, which is probably a pretty good segue as well, is that a lot of these nooks and crannies hold Pokemon, not I wouldn't call them outbreaks, but like, mini clusters of rare Pokemon you might find. Like you might go into a cave and find a cave full of Gibbles, or you might find a cave full of Hoothoots even. Like just you're rewarded for exploring in ways that obviously work for people who are in post game. For example, like if you're looking for a specific EV to train, right, or effort value, you can go to one of these nooks and like, oh, the Hoot Hoot one gives me, I don't know, +1 special defense to every single Hoot. So I can knock all these out and get that extra boost. So, a lot of like interesting ways to make it work in for a competitive sense, and just more of interesting. Like you just found a cave full of one specific spawn. Kind of a cool thing. Wasn't exactly a thing in the main game besides the little clusters they showed every once in a while, but yeah, just really cool. And speaking of Hoot Hoot, new Pokemon. We got about, I believe, 100 added, 100 plus added to this DLC pack.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, do we like the cluster we got? Do we feel any sort of way?
yes. And I know they heavily showed Milotic in the trailer, but man, that is one of the best Pokemon designs. And us getting the Sinnoh starters as well as Petalil, Lilligant, Bellsprout, the whole Bellsprout line, gang. For real.
I was surprised that Bellsprout got a spot. It's been a very long time, I'll say.
I was surprised that Yama got.
I wasn't. I'll be honest.
I was surprised. I'm like, I guess because personally, I don't really care for it. So
yeah,
like,
but you don't like Tropius either, so.
All right, hold up. All right,
yeah.
I'm here for the Tropius slander. Fuck that Pokemon.
Oh, bro. But what slander? What a great Pokemon. I just saw one on an icy mountain, just chilling.
Banana neck bastard, bro. But anyway,
bro. Say less.
Like, you don't belong here, demon.
But no, I think for me, I didn't look at the Pokemon that were added to the DLC because I wanted it to kind of be a surprise for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the majority of them I was happy about. There was of course a few that I don't really care about, like Sentret. I don't really care about them.
Loser. Anyway.
Look, man. All right, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Right? Don't stop. Don't let me stop you.
But no, I was. Oh man, when I first saw Jangmo-o in the wild, I lost my shit. I was so happy.
Yeah, that was
my favorite dragon type is back. I was so happy about it, and I still am happy about it. I'm planning on shiny hunting it and trying to like make a team with it somehow in this terrible meta. But
yeah, that's why we make our own metas. But I agree. I was actually pretty surprised, pleasantly surprised that Jangmo came back at all. Like I'll say it for a couple of the Pokemon. Because I knew going into this DLC that they were going heavily into this Japanese, so obviously Gen 2 through 4 aesthetic, with the Pokemon selection to kind of go along with the region itself that they're bringing. And I was of course expecting the Yanma, I was of course expecting the Sentret, or just a lot of like Gen 2 Pokemon, because that is like Johto's whole aesthetic is like cultural side of Japan. So we see the Hoot Hoots, we see basically, Spinarak, like the number one Pokemon, the first Pokemon in the Pokedex, a Gen 2 Pokemon, like already I'm getting into. So it was cool to see those, but to see some kind of like out there picks, like Jangmo-O and, I'm trying to think of like a more of a, I don't know, Mienshao. Like that was like a Pokemon. I was like, oh, why is this here? But like yeah, well, yeah, it's Revenant too. Like obviously the forest area.
Conkleder.
What's that?
Conkleder?
Yeah, like Conkleder.
I don't care about him. I was just playing.
No, you're right. You're right, but man, like I hate that he's here. But yeah, they picked some cool ones. Now I will say it was looking at the ones that they picked, and I know this is intentionally, they did not pick a lot of competitive viable ones, and that's because I think this overall theme made this entire theme for this DLC is not supposed to be competitive based as far as like actually battling stuff like that. Like that is not the focus of this DLC whatsoever. Obviously, it's going to be for DLC 2, but I think that it was cool to get to see some Pokemon that we haven't really seen in a very long time. Yeah, so I mean, it was very cool to see. I enjoyed this pool of Pokemon, even though I didn't get to use them too frequently, since they are kind of on the low tier side, and as we'll get into with the other stuff, you kind of can't use those for certain parts of this DLC.
Yeah. So I wanted to do something not really new, but every game I make a new team of Pokemon I've never trained before.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me do it for this DLC as well. And the only reason that I even beat this DLC is because I brought my shiny Fluttermane as my like quote unquote starter. Because the stuff you get as soon as the DLC starts is terrible bad.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, love a lot of these Pokemon, but Swaddle, Illumise, like Cutie Fly, Poochyena.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing to anybody with those?
It gave me like a good like burst of nostalgia for sure, but I was like, I can't use any of you guys. Like, you guys are great, love you, but like, hey, Cricketune, I'm sorry, like it's just not happening. I'm not running a Parasol set.
Wasn't happening Gen 4, wasn't happening Gen 9.
Sure wasn't happening then. Ain't happening now. But yeah, I mean, I'll say like it's for me what I did. I just took 3 Pokemon that I wanted to use in the main game, but obviously didn't have to competitive. So I brought my Palmot, Slitherwing, and my Leafeon, and man, I love using Slitherwing in the main game. He destroys everything.
Yeah.
That typing is just great for like just mess people. And it doesn't even matter because you have first impression on 135 base attack. Like, ugh, can't get enough. But obviously I swept through the main story because of that. But I did have struggles throughout the rest of the DLC, so it was nice to have to limit. I limited myself by the number of Pokemon I had. I'll say.
Yeah, I was since we're just on this train about talking about the Pokemon, what'd you all think of the newly introduced Pokemon in this DLC, like Ogerpon and the Loyal 3?
Before that, Johnny, were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna kind of say like I had the same experience as you, Steven. Like I didn't really make a team just solely based on this because, as you guys know, I didn't finish the main game because again, it's the second playthrough before I started the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
So everything there was like level 20 when I first got there.
Yeah.
And my Pokemon in the main game were like 60. So I was like, all right, I'm destroying everything here. So the only thing that I actually used, I think from the area was Komo-o. I fully evolved him, beat the regular game with him. I swept with that mon. He's so strong. That attack stat is insane. And he had a good nature when I caught him, so I didn't have to do anything to him. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I was going to touch on. Was like I didn't really use anything specifically except for Komo-o to get through.
I see. All right, so now let's bounce back. Now you want to talk about Ogerpon Loyal 3. How do I feel about their designs? I mean, I'll just be brief. I know we're gonna probably talk about it during the main story, but like, I don't like the loyal three. That was the easiest gimme twist, and I actually do like Ogerpon's design. I don't think it's like ever gonna be my. I'm assuming it's a mythical, right? Does it matter? No. But if we're kind of with the Manaphy, Mew, and all those Pokemon, then like it's okay. I like its design. I like the little cudgel it pulls out of its hand, out of its like back as a this little beat stick. It's pretty funny. But it's a cute design. Um, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's what most of these mythicals are: a cute design, but uh, somewhat usable and bad because their stats are like crazy. But I do like the gimmick with the mask, of course. I think it's an interesting idea to like a spin on Terra. You know,
Right.
well, I would say actually, let me take that back. I would say how I thought Terra was going to work initially, where it would change it would add a type rather than changing your type. So I guess in a way, like I kind of enjoyed having that like functionality. Like I thought we were going to get the third type, but two types still, and it's fun. It's fine.
Yeah, Johnny, I was actually I meant to ask you this a while ago, but it's probably a better time than ever. Would you want more mask for Ogerpon?
See, I'm kind of on the fence about it because I was thinking of it as I was playing the game. I wouldn't mind them, but I don't know because I was thinking about like if I were to ever try to use Ogerpon in like a competitive like game or just even like to make a team with it, it would be really interesting to have a team that switches items for Ogerpon, like
Mm,
using Fling or whatever and giving it to Ogerpon just because it changes the ability of Ogerpon with each mask and every time you terastallize, it changes a stat for that mask. So like fire ups your attack, water up special defense, rock, etc., etc. So I think it would
right.
be interesting in that sense, but I also don't know how much it would really change Ogerpon fully, just because they are an attacker. So like it would be interesting for sure, but I don't know how many more designs they could really come up with. Because I really like how each one of these masks look. I love how the
Mm,
teal mask look. Love how I even like the rock one. And I don't even like rock type in general.
yeah,
So I think they look nice. If they can keep up that design space, sure, I wouldn't mind it. But I don't really see like I don't know what they could really do with it. And it's unexplored space right now because the DLC kind of just came out.
right. Yeah, I just saw and to your point, I saw a lot of people saying that they hate the rock mask.
I don't like the rock mask.
Oh man, dude!
I think
But
it's cool.
yeah, the little jacket thing that Ogerpon's wearing, changing
Yeah.
colors. I think
That's
it's
different. That's not the mask. I will say I like the cloak being black. I mean, that's easy, but I hate the buck teeth on the mask. I don't like it. Don't like
bro.
it.
You have bug teeth. How could you?
You don't like the dreadlocks when you terrestrialize, bro? Come on.
Let's go.
I mean, it's easily the weakest of the four. Change my mind. I'm
I'll change
sorry.
your mind. Wait, hold on. I got this. I'll change your mind.
All
If you
right.
put a Pokemon that has every single type in the game, guess what they're still weak to?
I told you this.
Hey, I'm using your own logic against you.
Yeah, but
No,
it doesn't work because it's grass rock.
nah, bro. Smarty Blue.
No, well, don't let me do this to him.
I'm a
Smarty
plethora of knowledge,
Blue.
bro. I'm a plethora of knowledge.
A fountain, even. A whole damn library.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think kind of to go back to what we were saying about like how we feel about the big three. I don't care for them. I don't hate them per se. I think that their designs are kind of meh.
I like the
Um, I
bird.
I hate the fucking monkey. I hate
Yeah.
that thing with a
I
passion.
think
It looked like a light bulb.
I was gonna say, even if you're like a fan, like one, I don't like monkey Pokemon. I think they're like whatever, usually. But
Yeah.
that design is so nothing. And I get why he has to have like he has to be the smart one. He has a big brain, but like I know you guys can't really do too much with it, at least as far as your design department for these like throwaway legendaries. But man, this sucks. Very bad.
Yeah, but Also, Okie or Okie Doggy
It's okay.
doesn't look like a dog. It doesn't look like a dog. It's a bear. That's
Yeah.
a bear, bro.
Well, and to your point, yes, it looks like a bear now, but I like the Pokedex entries and how it like alludes to things and leaves it to your imagination. The idea that whatever entity or Pokemon granted them these like toxic chains like altered their biology, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
So, like from a lore perspective, I love them. From a design perspective, these aren't Pokemon. These are Yokai Watch.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think the monkey and the dog for sure. I'm sorry, Okie Dokie and
Monkey Dory.
Monkey Dory. Yeah. I will say that those two for sure. I don't mind Pheasantipity that much, but
You can't say that with its name being that.
Why? How is that?
I don't mind Pheasantipity.
I mean, it's really no better than the other two. Come on, like
No, they're all bad.
Okay, so
So dislike all of them.
sorry, it just I don't know. Like it just kind of. I don't think they're a miss because I'm not like, oh man, their design should have been this, this, and this. But I mean, when I first saw them, I was like, I'm just gonna probably pass on these if I can catch them. I mean, I ended up not doing that, but you know, it's they're meant to feed for the story. I get it, and as we'll talk about in the story, like you're not going to make, well, Pokemon won't anyway make the bad guys look cool if they can help it. That being said, I can see someone making a really annoying set with Pheasantipity because its move pool is all just stall crap, and it's also Poison Fairy. So take that what you will. I will say the main one that people might be using though is Okie Dokie because it gets its hidden ability. It's Guard Dog. I believe it can't be intimidated, and it has an extra benefit of that actually might be useful in meta if they allow this Pokemon for legal terms and stuff. But so there's that. I guess if anyone's interested, I think Poison Fighting too. So
yeah, Poison Fighting.
Yeah. So not totally out of it. I want to say good because still poison, but Poison believers, I'm here. I'm rooting for you. You can make it work.
Did you all struggle? I'm assuming we all caught them, but did you all struggle catching them in any way? Because Pheasantipity gave me a super hard time.
No, all of them did. I think the catch rate was literally 1. I don't know for sure, but like it felt like they were like super low.
So for me, so speak about catch rate just briefly. I think everything in this DLC for some odd reason was super hard to catch. Like even regular stuff was hard to catch for me. I don't know if it was just on my end or what. It was just hard to catch. But for the loyal 3, I had the most trouble with Monkey Dory. Just because like he would kill the thing that I would use to like stop him. So of course the catch rate's low. So like I had Clodsire on my team and I taught him Yawn. He destroys Clodsire immediately.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like why I struggled. But as far as like the most balls thrown without that aspect in it, it was definitely Pheasantipity.
Yeah.
No, I'd say they were all equal. I mean, partially because I was trying to catch them with luxury balls because like, oh yeah, it's like for the story, they're all greedy mother bastards. So it's like, okay, well, I'll try to use the luxury ball to have a low catch rate. So of course it took me forever. But to your point, Monkey Dory could have sweeped because at that point when I was catching them, I decided to switch to a mono fighting team, which by the way, do not do that for this DLC. Everything in this DLC wrecks fighting types. I was so mad. I was like, oh, another fairy, all fairy team? Cool. I got to deal with that now. That's fine. But that was it was quick because I just paralyzed him. I was like, whatever, just gonna cripple him, call it a day. But it still took me a long time to capture him, and he definitely gave me a run for my money out of all 3 of them. Because Pheasantipity, I mean, catch rate's crap, but like it didn't have any moves to kill me.
Yeah, it just had setup moves, which
Yeah.
was really weird to me. It had all set up and like I think one attack.
So I'm telling you, man,
Yeah, beat up.
it's going to be the support, a good support mon. And if you were sleeping on it, well, no one can use them, but I think that's going to be a sleeper, actually good Pokemon to use. I don't know if it's going to be an Ubers or whatever we call it, Regulation F, but might be good.
Only
Speak.
time will tell.
Yeah,
Sorry.
only time will tell. That's true. Because again, we'll see when they are allowed to be played. Along with Urshifu and the rest of the gang of bullies. So yeah. So speaking of catchphrase, though, I know we're gonna kind of move over to other things, but before we do that, I know last thing on Pokemon, how was our shinies? Because I'll be honest, they were handing me them in like handfuls. Like, hey, here's 3 over here for one session. Here's another 4 the next session. I started the DLC and I found a shiny Sentry immediately, like my second encounter. It was crazy.
You hear that, Johnny? Shiny Centret. How does it make you feel?
So
It turns
it's
pink.
funny.
His
It's
name's
funny
Twizzle.
because since this is my second playthrough of the game, I was trying to see what shiny I would get in the game without like doing sandwiches or anything like that. I didn't catch my first shiny until the DLC dropped. My first shiny of this run is Hoot Hoot. So I named him Hoot Heat because he's the goat. Evolved him to Noctowl. That was my first shiny.
Wrong.
That's my only shiny from the DLC Pokemon. I did get other shinies later on in like just the base game.
Mhm.
Like I got a shiny Braviary, a shiny Shinx. Actually, wait, no, I did catch a shiny Shinx there, but that's base game Pokemon. So other than those 2 base game, Hoot Hoot is the only one I found naturally. But I am gonna shiny hunt for shiny Jangmo-O. And then I did notice, and we kind of didn't talk about this, that the outbreaks are different here. Because in base game, outbreaks are always like 3 Pokemon. It's always Rookidee and 2 other Pokemon no one care about.
Oh,
So
I actually have so that actually might have been a bug, not confirmed, but a lot of people have been reporting that since the DLC dropped, now in the main map, outbreaks are now a lot more varied.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I understand. It used to be like Flittles and Rookidees in the same 3 things over and over and over again.
Yep.
But I think they've adjusted those with the recent
Okay.
DLC dropping. So
Okay.
that might have been an issue. Just saying.
Okay. Well, I mean, now that I'm aware that it's a little bit different, because I was going to say when I first started the DLC, as you guys know, Mimikyu is one of my favorite Pokemon. There was a Mimikyu outbreak, like when I first got to the DLC, and of course I didn't have any Herba Mystica, so when I tried to get one, I wasn't getting a shiny Mimikyu. But like now I want to go back and shiny hunt for some other shinies in the DLC specifically. I was there when you caught your shiny Lotad, Steven, too.
Oh yeah, that was just hiding behind a tree.
He was in the cut.
I was pretty impressed.
He's right behind me.
Yeah.
Didn't you catch him like immediately too? He was just like, "Yeah, man, just take me."
Yeah, he put me in the Riz ball, and I was like, I got luxury balls for you, bro. So done, easy. I didn't name him yet. Might just be low.
Just a tad low.
Just dead.
I actually did pretty bad on shinies because in the base game, without any sandwiches or anything, by the time I beat the entire game, I had like 9 or 10 shinies I naturally found.
Right.
And in the DLC, I got 1 from a sandwich, and it took 2 sandwiches to get it. Shout out to Ducklet. And the other 2 I got naturally. And they were after a cutscene, which I don't know if it just like changed my RNG or something. But after you go up to the Crystal Lake at the top of Oni Mountain, I jumped down and I landed on top of a shiny Koffing. And then I was doing raids 2 days after that. And I was up on the mountain near where the Slugma spawn. And there was a shiny Geodude just going in a circle. So
Yeah,
That was
lost.
really it though. Like I really struggled to find shinies this run.
Yeah, I think honestly because my Stantler I jumped off a cliff and I found as well, but yeah, I don't know. Like it seemed to be. I mean, obviously they're shinies, right? So the chances are different for everyone. But we were kind of having issues with the sandwiches for a while. But I guess I was just our luck was just bad. But yeah, I mean, so they're shinies. They dole them out as they see fit, I suppose. And I didn't really. I had to like sandwich for the ones that actually won it because there's no way I was going to use Cricketune. I might use Stantler in the future. I don't know what Weirdeer's shiny is, but hopefully it's not more green because man, I hate neon green shinies with a passion. Oh my god. And I also found a Geodude that I probably will never use, but all
Well,
good stuff.
I'm sorry to tell you about shiny Wardeer.
What's the verdict?
They don't
You like
hit.
green?
They don't hit.
Is the white green?
It's completely tinted green. Like the beard becomes like a lightish green, and the body's like this pea yellow green.
I'm looking it up. This sucks. And then,
But
yeah,
while he does that and he hurts himself mentally,
it's getting
the last
weird
Pokemon we
here.
didn't talk about that's new. What'd you all think of Ursaluna?
So so do we want to talk about that along with? I guess we can talk about the Ursaluna first. And then
Yeah, we could talk about Ursaluna, and
That's not
that'll
bad.
kind of lead us to petting.
Yeah. So I don't know why they made this form. To be completely honest, I'm not against new forms, but I think it was kind of insano mode to be like, let's just swap the attack with special attack and give it its own signature move, and all of this stuff for a single Legends Arceus mon. It just kind of was just like that's kind of out of left field. Like it's cool. I like it. I like any mention of Legends Arceus, but that was to me. It was just like okay, like well, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. But hey, not gonna go ahead, Johnny.
I was gonna
First
say
thoughts.
that I liked this Ursaluna. I like how it looks. And I was kind of looking into it, and you guys know I scroll through TikTok, and like competitive Pokemon TikTok is its own thing. But people were talking about it, and I saw
Bunch of
people
fools.
discussing it. And I mean a normal type Pokemon that can hit ghost types is I think pretty good. Special attacking Ursaluna is weird to me, just like that thought. It doesn't look like it would be a special attacker, just like based on like how the Pokemon looks. But I think it's cool. I'm interested to see if people will use it in competitive, but considering Ursafu's there, no.
I mean,
I don't know. I think it's a cool idea, and I think it's like the one you kind of touched on it earlier when we were talking about it, where like this is not a competitive DLC because they're waiting for the next. I think, with Perrin being involved in it and her assumable role in the next DLC part, I think it was an okay thing to like add one competitive esque mon. I think that mon's strong.
no,
Oh,
it
yeah.
definitely is because its base is Ursaluna, which currently is running around the meta destroying people at this point in time, probably. But yeah, no, it is definitely a strong mon. I'm interested to see how it's going to work because it doesn't get like obviously there's no special attack version of Guts, but I mean, it gets some interest. It has an interesting move pool to make it seem like okay, there's going to be a bulky special sweeper with normal ground. It's definitely unique, I will say. So yeah.
With that though, we can kind of segue into how we get Ursaluna through one of the new characters they've introduced, who is also a callback from Legends Arceus, even though Johnny, I'm sorry, but Johnny did not know this.
What are you talking about, bro?
You can't even lie.
Ottoman is my boy. I would have never.
Wait, the thing you sit on? The Ottoman?
Yeah, Ottoman. Adaman. Adaman. He's my boy, all right?
The
Yeah.
grave you dig.
he's your boy, but like his descendants mean nothing to you. Apparently, you lose all sight as soon as he's gone.
Look, all right. It's been a while since I played Legend Arceus, so the connection was not immediately thought of.
I don't. I look. Her design was too uncanny unless Adamant existed prior to that, in my opinion. Obviously, not saying like whether you're right or wrong or anything. Your excuse is valid, I suppose, but
Let me have this, please.
but Perrin or Perrin, whatever. She is a photographer from the Hisui region, which apparently still, well, back when it was called this, she's from Sinnoh. All right, so she's kicking around in, man, we didn't even name this region, did we? We've gone this far. We didn't name the
It's Akami.
Oh, is it Kitakami? I should have known that. It's Kitakami Hall, but yeah. So she's rolling up to Kitakami and she's looking for a spark, something to kickstart her photography career and get her back into her A game. And first of all, she just shows up and is like, "Hey, get most of the Pokedex and then come talk to me again." I'm like, "All right, yes, ma'am, I'm on it." And then I completely forgot about her. But I think it's interesting that they are even kind of trying to drop these references in the DLC. So you got this Legends Arceus reference, you got Hisui and Growlithe, best boy, hanging around, and like it was cool to see a callback to that if we're gonna get any at all. So first, let me just say I like her design; she's great. David.
Oh no.
How David do you want me to be?
Oh no.
Man.
The letter D. Well, me aside, I am interested in the implications that Ursaluna and Hisui and Growlithe are like. I'm not going to say they're time displaced, but I wonder how they're going to justify their existence in the current timeline.
That's what I was going to say, because the Pokedex entry for Ursaluna mentions that it swam across the ocean to get to this region. That does not explain why it's in this time. Or time period, I should say. Or this reality, however Arceus wanted to break down how Hisui was even... How is it canon?
Yeah, I don't know if he hired like a contractor, Hoopa, and he was chefing it up with Dialga or something. And yeah, I don't know how it happened or the logistics of it, but I'm excited for the lore implications. And as well, we know Perrin's going to be in the next DLC, so I'm excited to see how her story develops, especially now that we've given her this like quote unquote spark to continue doing what she finds to be important. I think she'll either be a recurring character in games to come, or we'll slowly get other Legends characters to justify Hisuian Pokemon in future titles, which is exciting to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like they might, considering like, the whole point of during Arceus was, you had these two factions going, I guess if you want to count the trade company, because Volo's crazy ass, 3. But, you had these two factions, main factions. You had the Diamond Clan, the Pearl Clan. So who will be our Pearl Clan representative? I'm going to assume it's going to be a guy to keep the pattern going. But right. What will be the Pokemon to represent the Pearl Clan? And please don't be Electrode.
It'll be Braviary. Come on.
I'm cool with that. That would make sense, too. That was one of their Pokemon. So
yeah,
I'm cool with that.
So, Johnny, I know you didn't know who she was, but how do you feel about Perrin?
I think she's a cool character. I actually like what, in general, Scarlet and Violet has been doing with these characters, or like they kind of give them like a little bit of a deeper side, like at least deeper than usual, Pokemon deep. So I kind of like that she's like in her own little funk thing, and you kind of help her get her groove back. Because I feel like I'm not a photographer, but as far as someone who does creative content in a sense, like that's something that I can relate to a little bit. But other than that, like I kind of what David said, like I kind of see her becoming a reoccurring character. I don't know if she's going to necessarily be in other titles, but I do think that she's going to be a reoccurring character in at least this next part of the DLC. I don't really know if they're going to do the same thing where like you have to collect the majority of the Pokédex to even talk to her. If they do that, they'll probably divide it up into parts. Or just have you just outright take pictures of Mon like you did for the Ursaluna mission. But other than that, like I think she's a cool character. I don't really have any issues with her. I kind of like how they made her become your rival a little bit too. You know, just adding another rival to the list. And it kind of this could be a segue, but it kind of made up for the bad taste in the mouth that the other character is kind of left. So
uh, yeah, yeah. I will say she was one of the better ones. Unfortunately, she wasn't a like major character as those characters you are mentioning. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the difference is like, well, they weren't trying to tell an entire like, it was the story they're trying to tell, right? Like, Parent's story is about just finding your confidence in yourself and finding that spark and what you are truly like passionate about and trying to find that passion again. Meanwhile, our two, what would I call them, companions for this DLC would Kieran and Carmine, the brother and sister of the Mizzou Town fame and origin. Yeah, I know, right? Kind of, it makes it even better, huh? And I guess I do want to focus. I want to keep staying on characters, so we can kind of go over them and then kind of go. That'll be like a nice way to kind of prep us for the story. But anyway, so yeah, Kieran and Carmine, another two important characters introduced in this DLC. Me and David kind of talked about these two a bit and gave our kind of first initial thoughts on it. But I'll be honest, I knew from the get-go I wasn't gonna like Kieran, and I knew from the get-go exactly what they were doing with Carmine. But at this point, I mean, no.
they're sus. I'll give you that.
They're sus.
They're pretty sus.
They're sus in their own ways, and I really, this is again why I really don't like how, and they obviously they had to. They're not going to make different dialogue for whoever's playing the game, but man, like as a grown man having to play the 10-year-old, having to hear this girl try to talk down to me, has no rep and she knows nothing about me. I've literally defeated an entire region, and she's talking all this smack. I'm like, bro, you just got off. You're on a school trip.
You have a Poochyena.
Right. You wrote about a Poochyena. What? Come on. Like, what? You roll with a Poochyena and
whack.
Yeah. Your Sawaddle, super whack.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, her team was garbage.
Her team was bad. And she was talking like she had this cracked out team. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to throw out. It's DLC, so obviously, like, you've had to beat some of the game. I was ready for a real trainer battle. So I throw out my Slithering, and she throws out Poochie. I'm like, all right, bro. Like, wrap it up, bro. We gotta get going. Like, we are done here.
I was like, Ducklet, you can handle the whole squad. Handle my lightweight.
And it was wraps after that. And then she puts out, oh, little brother's gonna take care of you. I'm like, what's he got? A damn candied apple. A damn candy apple. I'm like, all right, bro. Stop this mother.
Hey, put some respect on Dripplin's name.
Right? No. No, I won't, actually.
All right, Apple Gang. This is your call to action.
Rise up.
Diplin is not a character, by the way.
Very well.
Character in my story.
But just know we got the Apple Hills location. Stay winning.
Oh my god.
But
all right.
I will say, I don't know how much we want to go into like how the character progressed over the course of the DLC, but initial impressions of Carmine was like this sweet kid. I mean, Kieran was the sweet kid, and then Carmine obviously was supposed to be more antagonistic towards you.
Yeah.
But because because of how they do story in Pokemon nowadays, when they like quote unquote developed, it wasn't even like a linear like straight line. It was like a sudden like
A
switch just
burst.
flipped, and
Yeah.
they were just like different people.
Yeah. I agree.
Mhm.
And something I always really liked about Pokemon, even since Gen 1, is how a person's team can reflect certain character traits about them.
Yeah.
Like, um, like for instance, like the obvious one is in the Gen 3 games when Wally evolves his Rolts, it shows like progression and like personal development himself, going from this sickly kid to like a strong, reputable trainer. But with Kieran and Carmine, their team changes, and Kieran notably gets rid of his Furret, and I don't remember if he gets rid of his Yanmo, but he gets rid of like the Pokemon that you would typically think are weak and replaces them for other things by the time you fight him last.
Yeah.
But it comes off as kind of like trying to emulate how Pokemon game characters used to be written versus actually successfully doing it, because he all of a sudden just becomes this like evil power hungry character. And it's it's made even worse when they try and make Carmine seem sympathetic at the end when she's literally like just mean for no reason for like the entirety of the DLC.
So I've I've heard people's opinions about one. I'll say like I think was interesting how both teams do it. Like even Carmine, she keeps the Leavanny in her team throughout the entirety of the DLC. Yeah, it's supposed to show that she's actually nice, I suppose, but and she's not like again like she's not mean. She's just rude, I would say. She treats her
Yeah.
little brother like that. Like it's a brother sister relationship. Don't look too deep into it, folks. She's not abusing a kid. Like clearly someone would have said something, but that's not the game. That's not the story Pokemon's trying to tell. But it like you said, it comes off all of a sudden. It's like, oh, she totally changes her mind about the outsiders of Mizzou and everything. It's like, like I would find that more believable, but then they are like, and she focuses directly on you. And it's like, yes, I respect you 100%. Like, man, I wish you could have stayed longer. I'm like, what is this? What is this dialogue you're telling me? Like, this came out of nowhere. Like, let's be rivals. Don't you get all soft on me, please. It's very weird. you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sorry.
No, I'll just say like, and Kieran does the opposite, where he turns into a cold incel towards the end. But
Just you wait, Steven.
Oh my
My
god.
Poliwrath has dynamic punch.
I forgot he had the Poliwrath. I had to laugh. I was like, the way you try to upgrade with the Poliwrath, bro.
You'll see.
You'll all see. I'm gonna get stronger. Peels my hair back.
You were
Johnny.
saying, Danny?
I was saying, I dislike both of these characters. I'm gonna premise that. I don't like them like a lot. I will say Carmine grew on me a little bit, but not a lot because kind of what you were saying, David, that they kind of like forced the progression. I feel like they like tried to show that progression in such a small amount of time in the DLC because the story's not long.
Yeah.
And I think that they tried to show that progression, but they just didn't flesh it out. Like I would have been perfectly okay if they would have kept the characters in their original form, I guess, all the way up until the next DLC and then
Yes.
develop them. I would have been perfectly okay with that because then you would have known, like, oh, this character is this way. It's been consistent. This is how they are. And then seeing that character development would have been cool. At least like where they are currently at. Carmine, the reason I say she grew on me a little bit more is I kind of once she kind of put on the initial face of like being rude, I kind of figured that oh they're gonna make her turn into the caring person. So I kind of like because of that predictability, I was like okay sure, like she's quote unquote cooler now because she's predictable. Like I knew she was gonna turn out this way. She still kind of kept the rudeness a little bit, but they definitely dialed it back a lot. Um And then man, I hate Kieran. I hate him from the moment you meet him. I did not have the perspective of this is a cute little kid. I had the perspective of this guy is weird. He is a creep. One of the first one, like the first few moments you meet him, he is like the ubu shy boy in the corner, right?
Yeah.
And then you partner up with him because Carmine's like pushing him on you, which whatever, I don't really care. And like it's so weird to me. He's like, yeah, I'm not gonna because I'm shy. I'm gonna be like 20 feet behind you and just watch you. That's so weird.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
I will say, like, I don't know. I just really don't know. Again, like, 20-some-year-old person playing a Pokemon game. I'm a little out of the age range of trying to write this story for it, but I'm like, I'm not sure because I know it's like an age thing, a gender thing, but like, who wants this? Who wants this character? Like, if you were just, let's just say you're role playing, like, I mean, I'm the main character for a minute, and it's like, why would you want this guy here around you? Like,
Yeah.
is it endearing? Is it really like, oh man, that's that's so cute of you to be completely passive and meek and all of that, and I'm gonna walk 20 feet behind you and like, here, take the photo, haha. I can't throw my 2 thumbs up because I have no confidence in myself, and
Yeah.
I guess in a sense it's like maybe there's a build up to the story, but it's it just came off to me as just like, I really don't want to be around this character, and I'm sure that was the intent, because for both of these characters, there's things that people don't like about them. You're supposed to not like them. That is the intent. But I mean, even from the ground, like from the hit off the ground, it's like, Kieran, like, man, you need to nut up, bro. Something like, get away from me.
Yeah. So like I don't really mind the whole like shy character-esque thing. I don't care that characters are shy in like games or whatever. My thing was like how I kind of talked about how Carmine's um her whole character change was kind of predictable. I thought Kieran was gonna just become more like open, and they showed that in the weirdest way possible. By the way, showing it through taking pictures at a sign is so weird to show character development. It doesn't show character. But also like
Well, I took
having
that. I took that as him just being more comfortable around you. And in the last
Mm,
picture, he was kind of, that picture where he's kind of standoff. Is like, yeah, he's kind of fed up. So I saw that character development more of just like, he was building confidence, but in a negative sense, I'd say.
yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't really think of it that way. But like either way, like I just feel like if they were gonna have this whole idea of a shy character that like opens up more changes because of like how they relate to your main character, there just should have been more interactions other than what is it like 3 times before his switch, pretty much that you interact with this character.
I would say a couple more than that. I mean, there's like the scene where you guys are looking at the roto phone, and
Okay.
you're just kind of like, I don't know, like kind of just a moment of you two kind of like hanging out. I was like, oh yeah, it's a really cool phone. Like, I don't have a phone, but it does everything. Blah blah blah. So like,
Yeah.
they do have they try to have as many moments as you can within the hour-long story, but
Mm.
it just, I don't know, like, nothing's inherently wrong with this character. I just think that, like, for me, playing the game is like, I don't like this archetype dealing with it.
Yeah.
So
And then my main issue with him though is the character that he turned into. And this probably leaks into story a little bit, but like when he initially like basically gets pissed off at your main character in Carmine, I thought that was really dumb because he listened to the entire conversation, so therefore he understand. Like theoretically, at least, you would understand why you know someone might not want to tell you, but then you know about it, and then you get pissed off at me for doing what someone told me to do. Like you're 10 in the game. You're not gonna go against this adult's will, at least not in this game. Like you do what the
well,
adults tell you to do.
I
So
think
I just thought that him being mad was just it was weird to me.
well, I think I think how they wanted you to read it as he's mad because he's obsessed with Ogerpon. Like, they don't really portray that very well, but like, as like his grandpa mentions, like, yeah, he cares so much about this legend, and he thinks Ogerpon's so cool, and he would do anything to meet Ogerpon. And the fact that Carmen lied to not allow him to meet Ogerpon, even the fact that you got to see it before he did, he's super upset about that, and he's a very emotional kid, and we all should respect that and look deeper within ourselves to understand and respect his decision to be a real butthurt little kid. But it's meant to be portrayed that way. I don't think they delivered it as well that they could have, but again, Pokemon, so I'm not gonna knock them too much for that. But yes, I think the reaction was like irrational, but there was a reasoning to it, I'll say. Yeah.
I don't know though, and I obviously haven't seen the cutscene in different languages, but like up until the point where you all quote unquote betray him, which was manufactured drama anyway.
Yes.
My issue was he just kind of like casually is like, don't you think it's sad that the ogre's viewed this way? I think the ogre's kind of cool. So you think it's like some kid who just like likes this thing. You don't even hear the word obsessed until like grandpa. His grandpa's like, yo, yeah, he's kind of obsessed with this thing. So that's kind of crazy. Don't tell him.
I mean, Carmen mentions it too. Like, I'm not going to say like, I will say many characters mention that, yes, he likes the ogre.
Right. But when Carmine says it, it's like, I think it's the cutscene where he's like, he starts, you all find out he's like acting weird. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly because it's kind of hazy, but like, yes, people say it, but I wish instead of telling you, the whole idea of like showing something in a story versus telling it.
Yes.
I wish that was like shown in dialogue because he just acts distant from you. So you can't gather that information unless Grandpa and Carmine tell you.
Yeah.
So I just immediately lost any type of connection I had. I was like, okay, this is like my little brother friend character. Oh, now he's Kid Sasuke who says, I'm more special than you. This sucks.
Yeah. I think a good part, and just I guess to give suggestions for Game Freak, when we first had to give the mask back and Ogerpon did not get close to Kieran. I mean, even just in the little aside where Kieran got like mad or something, or just mentioned, why didn't I get to hand the mask off? Like even that would have been like a good at least cue to be like, obviously he just wants to be around this thing, but again, we don't get that. We get bits. We have to assume and extend the olive branch to Game Freak storytelling to get that across. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that like even like subtleness, like how when when they go to the city and Ogerpon doesn't want to go in, Kieran or no, Carmine tells him to like wait or whatever, and he like acts stupid. Like or she talks to him like he's stupid. And Ogerpon's like, what are you talking about? And then, your character tells Ogerpon to like, normally you just wait here. I think even in that, like scenes like that where your character interacts with Ogerpon, I think it would be interesting to have like even like subtle like facial expressions of Kieran really looking at your character as something like that. Something super easy, like have the audio log and then like zoom into Kieran's face looking at you or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be interesting as well. Because it would have been like, oh, what's happening with Kieran? Like, this isn't like him, sort of thing.
Yep. But here we are trying to tell this $1 billion company how to properly convey emotions and stuff in their $1 billion franchise. How could we be so cruel and mean?
You're right. You know who is written really well? Miss Briar.
Why?
Interact with her twice.
Why is she written well, David? Tell me.
Oh my god.
The allegations are quite high for you after this video.
Written or drawn well, David?
What do you mean? She's a teacher?
Uh-huh.
I'm placing the police emote right here. Continue.
Okay, I just like getting away from
Kieran
and Carmine though. Miss Briar gives me hope for DLC 2. I will not care if she's the villain of DLC 2 because that'd be too obvious. But her obsession with the terrestrialized phenomenon, so much so that she abandons all the Paldea students in an unfamiliar region,
Yes.
makes me think that's the direction that they're probably gonna go. But I I'm hoping that um it makes sense with the story of Blueberry Academy and they don't put too much emphasis on like Kieran's Sasuke retrieval arc.
Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of go into our. I think we'll go a little bit more into it when we have like our final thoughts and looking into DLC too. But yeah, I do hope that Miss Briar and, well, I guess the new characters we're going to be getting take front seat, and the Carmine Kieran situation will be a quick one and done, a short mini arc for the larger arc at hand. I please, I really, yeah, it's just please, that's all I'm asking for. So yeah, I guess with that, like Miss Briar, you know, to your point, they are trying to pose her as this potentially posing her as a villain, I should say. I am kind of okay with that because that would be a huge redemption for our last. Well, I mean, not last because Gen 9, had a pretty okay villain, I'll say, pretty good one as far as like backstory and all that stuff. It would be a nice change of pace for the person someone in charge who doesn't really have all his background stuff, like just someone who has an obsession. All right, well, what I'm trying to get to is a better Rose, right? Because Gen 8's villain was written terribly. A very last, like 180 last minute villain where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to fix this issue and I want to do it right, blah, blah, blah. I think Miss Briar can be poised as that. Even just as I'm obsessed and I want to use Terra crystals for all these other purposes and stuff like that. I think that would be a very cool villain to have. Like someone with good intentions. The good intention person who kind of falls out of it. I'm down for more of those. Those seem to be working well, with like Professor Sada and Turo. To have another one like Miss Briar would be, that'd be cool. I'm down to have that kind of villain. I'm okay with repeats. That's what I'm trying to say because as they iterate, they usually get better. Usually, can't say that for the series itself, but
yeah. For me, like I think again, you only interact with her like a few times, so like I don't really have an opinion on Miss Briar as far as with this DLC, and I don't want to get too deep into like theories for the next one yet, because that'll kind of be like towards our closing, I'm assuming.
That's correct. That's what I just said.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do have some Smarty Blue theories on it, but as far as what we know now about Miss Briar, she's not. When I initially met her, she wasn't giving me like she might be a villain type vibe. It was more just like a obsessive sort of thing, not villain obsessive, but just obsessive. But I do have theories as far as like if that was the route that she was gonna go on, then
Yeah,
this is what I think will happen.
because she has to do something, right? Because she did
Yeah.
nothing this DLC. Well, barely anything, I'll say.
Yeah, if anything, she's gonna probably be like the bridge in the gap between like how your character meets. It's already been talked about in trailers and stuff. So Terapagos in the next DLC. That's what I think that's gonna be. As far as like what that bridge is, I don't want to talk about at this current time, but I think that's definitely gonna be. She's gonna be that bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, not too much to say. Again, she briefly showed up. She showed up at the Terra Pool portion, and then we kind of got to see a scene of her. I guess last time we saw her, she was watching Carmen unload all of her true emotions to the group, and then that was it. So hopefully, there's more for her in store for DLC 2. I'm sorry, bro. That last scene, I was like, please don't say this. Like, don't. This sucks. This really sucks.
I guess I really.
Gun to your head. We're leaving. I hope I never see you or your dumb brother ever again. Oh man.
Yeah. That's really it in terms of characters for.
Oh, new characters, I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, overall, like, the characters were interesting enough that I want to see what happens to them in the next DLC. But if they were only a DLC one, would not care. And I think they tried to make them very complex early on to sell some trainer full arts in the next set or two.
That's true. That is true. Because I don't know if you know this, but Ogerpon is going to be a front and center Pokemon in a future TCG set. So we are going to get the Ogerpon card. I'm sure we're going to get the Dark Kieran card.
Yo.
It's gonna be his Arthur Fist pose.
It's
Yeah.
just his fist. It's just his fist.
Kieran's determination. Looking.
Kieran's
That man was gonna be
fortitude.
behind him, bro.
Yeah, bro. Kieran's revenge.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is DLC 2, I'm bringing over Ogerpon.
Oh yeah.
Hey, bro, it's your friend.
Remember this thing that didn't choose you?
Ooh.
Get cudgeled.
That's
I'm a little bludgeoned.
Perfect time to put that picture in.
Hey, oh.
So I guess slightly related to the characters and such. What did you all think about the Billy and Onair duo?
Oh, so the Glitterati.
Maserati, baby.
Yeah, so man, I'm glad. I'm surprised. Thank you for saying something. I totally forgot. Yeah, I don't know why they. I mean, I know why they're here, short mechanics wise. But man, I hate being called poor. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I hate being called poor, like a lot. After talking to these people frequently. No, nothing.
I found it funny. I didn't really care, but I always find it funny, at least for the most part, I should say, when your character is bashed to be like a specific type, like a regular person, when you're obviously not, right? Like your character is supposed to be quote unquote special. You know,
Right.
so like being called a commoner all the time was just like, oh, here we go. Like I found it a little bit comedic. It did get old after a bit, but I found it like just their interaction between those two characters, like when she would like spit knowledge or I guess or whatever on you about like how you should use your money, and Billy would hype her up. I thought it was funny.
I mean, it is comedic to be sure, but man, like it wasn't like slur level, but like, man, I'm not a brokey. Like I know, like right now, my bank account's kind of low because I bought all those vitamins, but like, come on now, I'm the champion of some not backwater country.
I used all my money to give for the fundraiser to bring in tourists. I mean, to restore a monument.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it was funny to your point being called commoner as you traveled around the region, and even when you give them advice, she just basically re-says what you said, and then Billy hypes her up, and I was like, all right, this gag has to end. I was hoping when you beat them, and wait, have you all finished the side quest?
I got to the last portion. I need to finish it, but I'm interested
Did you
to
hear
hear.
about?
No, I'm interested.
Okay.
I'm interested to hear about it.
So I was hoping that when you finished the entire side quest, you got their drip because they have gold Gucci on, and I was like, this would be perfect. But instead, you just get an emote
And a phone case.
Man,
and a phone case.
not the Gucci case.
It's not Gucci. It's Glitterati.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but
Moscato.
I was pretty disappointed because considering how difficult it is to find them at some points in time. For those of you who don't know, there's another side quest that gives you a similar reward that you just need to show this couple either a mouse hold or Illumise and Volbeat.
Wait, well, hold up, wait. So okay. First of all, yes, that is side quest. I tried the Illumise and Volbeat. It did not work.
Maybe
it
your
has to
game
be different
glitched.
vendors.
Maybe it's the order you have to present them, but I presented them with an Illumise, and I tried an Illumise, and they said no, that's not it. So okay, well,
I did mouse hold,
That's what I did too.
Yeah.
Okay. But basically, for like less legwork, you get a better emote because you can do like half a heart and then you can do it with other players and stuff. So that's cool. But you just got an
That's so
emote for
funny.
chasing around the region. And I was like, this is kind of disappointing. And there's like a prevailing theory that this is Nemona's parents because of early data mine of Scarlet and Violet base game. I know Onair likes to battle, but outside of that, and that we know her parents are millionaires and we've been to her house, there isn't like a clear connection. But I'm hoping these characters, though just comic relief, come back in DLC 2 and kind of like give us confirmation.
Yeah,
Something like that. I again, like I thought it was kind of annoying to be called like a brokey all day, but I mean, when I introduce new characters and stuff, I do want to see more of them to kind of get more details. So, yeah. Also, give me more money. Thank you for being the money bank for this DLC. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I looked at so when I was doing the missions, I just looked up a guide because as you said, David, like you chase them around and they drop like small hints. I think one of them that aggravated me because I was gonna try to do it by myself. We're like, oh, we're gonna go somewhere like remote. We're gonna be between these two provinces somewhere. And we're just
Right.
like, all right, I guess I'll just scour the area for hours. But I looked up a guide for it. So like if you did that mission and you're listening and you did not look up a guide, you are stronger than I am. And I'm pretty
I'm
strong.
stronger than Johnny.
But yeah, no, it was like it was disappointing what the mission is. And I mean the money is good. Like I looked up in that guide it tells you like, oh, you can max out the prize money you get from them by throwing in these specific mon and this specific and like they had a breakdown of each turn, which was funny to me. But you can get up to I think like over 800,000 Poke dollars from like the whole mission sideline or the whole mission quest line thing. So I thought that was like cool, but other than that, yeah, they're funny as far as comic relief, but the mission is lame. Like it's boring. Also, her team garbage.
team. Bro, you mean like the 2 or 3 Pokemon?
It's a team.
Shit. Yeah. You ain't lying.
I was hoping she had 6 Goldangos.
I was
Dude,
hoping
That was
yeah.
funny.
I was hoping like something like she had the Persian. I was like, are you gonna use Payday? Like where's the gimmick to your battle here? Because I see you giving me like 15 nuggets and all these pearls and stuff, but when you battle me, it's just like, yeah, here's 20K. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy about that, but cough up some more money, Miss Realty, money person. I don't know the fucking word.
Yeah, I don't really know about the whole Nemona's parents thing. It would be funny because like the duality of how her parents act versus how Nemona acts is very different.
Eh, she
I don't know.
can be kind of an airhead.
Yeah, she could be an airhead, but I don't like. I think she's more of an airhead because she's so obsessed with battling, whereas these two have their own separate obsessions, which is weird. Like from what we get from the information, at least in this DLC, Onair, the girl, likes to experience new things or whatnot. At least like theory crafting that, and then Billy, of course, is obsessed with her because he praises the ground that she walks on. So like, I guess there is some relation, but I don't know. I don't really see it as much. If her parents are them, like I'm not gonna be upset about it. But it's kind of just like I don't really see it sort of thing. But that could be the whole thing that they're going for is like, oh, you would have never guessed, sort of thing. But yeah, I hope they come back. I think that they're funny. I think that they like they added something to the game that's like the goofiness of Pokemon sort of thing. In a DLC that like tried to be serious with its characters and didn't really do a good job with it. So
Yeah. I look forward to it. Look forward to seeing more of them. Regardless, to see if how it shapes up. I think that was all the new characters, right?
Yeah,
Just
like the only other thing you can really talk about, I guess, character wise, the new Nurse Joy design and Kieran's grandpa.
all right,
Diplin.
I'm gonna pass on the whatever Johnny just said and the grandparents.
You heard me. You heard me.
Yeah. And
You acknowledge.
I mean, I guess one thing I'll say for Nurse Joy is like, yeah, you know, if you keep going to heal, she gives you 2 emotes.
Yeah.
So there's that. I like her design. I like the hipster Nurse Joy. Like, she's like community college Nurse Joy. She knows what to do, but she's clearly not in it. She's just doing it because it's just a job.
She's just in a tent, bro. She's just there.
Yeah, I mean, you're at like a tourist spot, so you're in a good spot. You know, if you're on the gram, like she probably is. But you know, when she's telling me emails like you got to do this, this is how it's gonna work. For I'm like, all right, like clearly you're an influencer somewhere. You know what's up.
Yeah, I did like. I am finding it kind of weird that Pokemon Company is kind of pushing this whole like emote and picture aspect to the game. Because if like I don't know, it just with them pushing it in the DLC as like a marketing thing, like you had to buy the DLC to get the Rotom stick,
Yeah.
which is just a selfie stick, which is just like a quality of life thing.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that they're focusing so much on the pictures. So maybe there's like something they're gonna do like in the future as far as DLC that's part of the story, which is why like kind of circling back to Piran, which like kind of why I think that they're gonna have her next missions be actually picture based, which would make sense. But yeah, it's just weird to me that they're pushing this picture thing so much.
So that's actually a good segue. Well, I guess we can talk about the camera stuff and the features along with just the camera features and stuff. That's a good segue into that because, so like you said, it's a quality of life thing. They really wanted to make the camera functional because I don't know if you know, like I know you probably have noticed when you try to take photos of your, like for instance, your Pokemon and stuff like that, it is very hard to get them to stand still and look at the camera. It's very hard to capture your entire team in the camera in the original game. It's very hard to basically capture like scenes, moments with the camera because they do these half steps where they want to have these extra features for you to enjoy this open world game, but the camera was bad. Like it was unusable. I never used it personally. I did it for like make funny pictures of like, you know, shit posts essentially. But like now, so now you have this, and I will say that these features are included for the base game, except the Roto Stick, of course. But everything else besides the emotes and the Roto Stick are now available for the base game. So now you have this Roto Stick, so now you can get a picture of all of you and all your friends. You can get you and your entire team. You can emote so they can do their proper you can have the music change. They do the proper, so they do a proper pose for the camera, and they actually look at the camera now. And you know, like the heart emoji, like that's a emote that can work with more than one person. You know, like there's the quality of life features so they can catch up to where it was supposed to be. I'll say. I think to your point, it is weird that they're locking it behind DLC. Any of it, because I will say the Roto Stick is really good. I very much appreciate that feature, but it's another Pokemon Company tactic, I will say, where a feature that in any other game would have been not even marked as a feature is being sold as a gift, I will say, for purchasing the DLC, you know. But I mean, it's a much more robust system now. They've given us a bunch of emotes. And they really tried, again, this is not the competitive DLC, so they tried to make the aesthetic aspect of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet game a little bit more padded out, I will say, you know, because we get, of course, the emotes, the camera, we get the new outfits, we get the new haircuts, we get the mask, you know, like we're getting all these extra things that are appreciated. I like them anyway. I don't know what our thoughts about it. Like I like the new mask at the very least. I think they're hilarious. But uh, I will.
I
Yeah, there we go.
I didn't get any of the other mask right now. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I only have the teal mask. I think I don't even know because I don't rock it. But the new outfits are okay. I did wear the blue one that they give you for a bit, just because, like, in the name, blue's my favorite color. But I did unlock the like special fancy one that you get for repairing the monument.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm not really a big fan of gradient too much. So I'm rocking it right now just because it's new. But I'm probably gonna go back to the blue one just because I like blue more. But they're not bad. Like it was definitely a good thing to add considering how a lot of people in the community like did not like that they took away character customization so much in this game,
Yeah.
considering how like Sword and Shield was, and I mean even Gen 7, like they had a lot of like outfits, and you can customize your hair and your hat and whatever. In this game, it's like you get 4 school outfits that none of them drip, by the way. Um, and yeah, that's it. You can change your socks, your shoes, your backpack, and your hat. Oh, you can have a bandana, Gucci bandana. That's it. Like they didn't have a lot of customization, so them adding something that wasn't fucking orange, considering that's where I go to school in the
Oh,
game,
thank
like
God.
yeah, it's a good thing. So other than that, though, like the haircuts are pretty good. I'm rocking the curly one right now. I forgot what it's called, but I have curly hair, so like it's like, oh, okay, they actually have something that's more like my hair in the game now, instead of me rocking a high top fade in the game.
Yeah, I was glad that they added new customization. To your point, the haircuts and stuff. I feel like this is stuff they could easily patch in, and honestly, I know quite a few people would even like be willing to pay for. But I'm hoping this continues with the next DLC, which I think it is because I think in the promotional art for DLC 2, we're wearing a completely different outfit. So I don't like anything like really gaudy in real life, but in the game, I wear the full Gucci fit, and when I repaired the Loyal 3 burial restoration site, um I actually wore that I don't know what the garb is called, but I wore the like gradient colored
Okay.
garb and made a whole outfit that fit with it. But because it was like necessary. Player expression was pretty, like you said, heavily nerfed from previous games, and a lot of people's characters online pretty much just looked the same. If you wanted to stand out, people just wore like the Daft Punk helmet.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Pokemon's a game about self expression. That's why it's one of the most notable RPGs ever. It's like you show your team to someone, and it says a lot about like who you are and like what you like, and it's like an automatic conversation starter versus like other RPGs where like you just get these characters and they all do the same thing or have like they're all gonna learn the same moves and stuff. So I'm hoping they continue this trend, and I hope whenever Gen 10 comes out, um, we have good customization because I was really not feeling that we were stuck wearing Pokemon Unite colors for 90
Oh
hours of
yeah.
gameplay.
Yo, big brain theory. That's how they advertise Pokemon Unite.
I really like orange.
The lack
I
of
really like
Riz,
purple.
I guess that's
Mewtwo,
at least it's honest.
Mewtwo and Mew are in Unite. They're inside Scarlet and Violet now. Put
I
that
didn't
out
think
there.
about that. There are Pokemon in Unite in Scarlet and Violet.
That's crazy. Smarty Blue.
Actually,
So
Yeah.
so I guess on other features they kind of gave us for this DLC, and kind of to your point, like I know it's like weird, like that stuck out, like Pokemon that were in Unite that aren't in this game.
Does anyone else thinking the egg was going to be a random starter, like from all of them? Because
Yeah,
I think that's a missed opportunity, in my opinion.
So I actually thought the egg was gonna be like the old Togepi egg. That's what I thought it was gonna be.
That would have also worked, I think. Again,
I
just
was I was pleasantly surprised when it was a starter.
oh,
I was happy with it.
nah.
So
Well, so I guess like okay, so obviously like so how you get the so first of all, your homeroom teacher is in Katakami, and he's like, hey, like here's an egg, take care of it, blah blah blah. You just meet him randomly. He decided to follow you there because he's a real jamming dude. So he gives you the egg, you hatch it, and it's a starter. And now the starter is based on the starter you got, and the starter is based off of your starter from Scarlet and Violet. So if you got a grass starter, you're getting Turtwig. You got the water starter, you're getting Piplup whatsoever, blah blah, and so on and so forth. So I got Turtwig, and I just didn't use him because I don't really use Turtwig like that. I think it's nice that we got a starter at all. I'm just kind of wondering why we got a Gen 4 starter. And I guess I'm not wondering because if you think about it, we didn't get the Gen 4 starters during the raids, but I would have liked it more if we gotten, a bigger pool, I'll say. Because I would have been happy to get like Cyndaquil or I guess not Cyndaquil. Well, yeah, even Cyndaquil or just to go with the theme or Chikorita, Totodile, like, any of those stars that we haven't seen yet that are coming to the next DLC, it would have been a nice, like, teaser, right? But
yeah. I agree, and I guess I really didn't think about that. Um, I don't know why Gen 4 was chosen.
well,
Like, I was happy that those Pokemon got like a bunch of buffs, new moves, new ability, and things like that. But um, it seemed like out of nowhere and kind of not really related to the DLC, which, like we said earlier, focused a lot on like Gen 2 and 3 type Pokemon. Maybe a little bit of 4, because I
yeah,
know we got a lot of the Mount Cornet evolution Pokemon as well in this
yeah,
DLC.
yeah, agreed.
Like,
I
outside of that, when Professor Jacques gives you the egg and then just leaves forever,
yeah.
it just seemed like out of nowhere.
I mean, kind of a pool because Legends Arceus does take place in Hisui, so you
so I
know,
was continue, sorry.
there's that, but it's kind of it is a little bit out of left field. Like we're making all these references to all these other regions and stuff. Like why the Gen 4 and then have man, what is his name? Jacques, yes, Jacques. So, and Jacques
Yeah.
not even really mentioning uh why he has this Gen 4 egg. I mean, it doesn't have to again. Like it's totally fine. Just, what's the real reasoning behind that? I guess he just wanted to give Gen 4 starters another like, I guess a little kick. But yeah. Anyway, John, you were saying.
So what I was gonna say is, even though I thought I was pleasantly surprised with having a starter instead of like Togepi or something, that's mainly because it was something that I wasn't expecting. Like I wasn't expecting to get a starter from this egg, right? So that's what I meant by I was surprised. I don't really agree with getting a starter though, and there's a few reasons for that. So like we already know in the second DLC, every starter is able to be caught. We already know that information. So it
Yeah.
was kind of weird that they gave us one. And kind of like what you were saying, like, maybe the decision was Hisui was, mentioned here. They could have given us Hisuian starters. That would have been that would have made a lot more sense. Because, Ursaluna is, of course, mentioned. Then you get, Hisuian Growlithe. And Basculegion is in the game, too.
Yeah.
So, like, it would have made more sense to give us one of those starters instead of just raw Gen 4. And like so for me, I picked Fuecoco for my starter. So like I got Monkey Man, I got Infernape. And I was happy about it. So I didn't know at first that your Pokemon, goes with whatever Pokemon you picked.
I think most
So
people
like
don't know that.
yeah.
Mostly because no one's talking about it, but yeah.
Yeah, so like when I confirmed it with you guys, asking what you guys picked, because I know you had grass, Steven, and then David had water. So when David got Empoleon, you got Turtwig. I was like, all right, that's 3 for 3. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed because, like, for me, Infernape fits with the area because Infernape is based off of, Wukong, right? So like
Yeah,
that
Dragon
kind
Ball
of makes
Z.
sense. Yeah, it kind of made sense here. But like Empoleon and Turtwig didn't. Whereas Hisui um does kind of bring those other elements of like Japanese culture or even Asian culture in general to the Pokemon game. So it was a weird decision to give people just a regular starter, just a regular one, when there are special starters that already exist and were kind of like the region was talked about in the game, and with them all being available for the next DLC. You know,
Yeah, you bring up a really good point because like, and this is just me. Like, obviously, we're not going to give a bunch of advice to this billion-dollar corporation, but what if Professor Jacques gave you like a quote unquote ancient egg, or what if he gave you the egg of a Hisuian starter, and because of the environment, because they always have some excuse on why certain evolutions are possible in future games.
Yeah.
Like there always happens to be like a grassy, mossy rock to get Leafeon from, So they could have done the same thing with the Hisuian Pokemon, where if you evolve those starters on this island in the DLC, they'd evolve to their Hisuian final evolution. That could have been really cool and fitting for the theme of the area.
yeah, because all three areas will be represented except for Fire, I guess. But there's Infernal Pass.
Yeah, yeah, the place with like the Slugma and stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so like, yeah, that would have actually been really cool. I would have really liked that instead of just shoving my monkey with candy so that way it evolves and then putting him in a box forever.
Yeah, I'll take them. There's never enough Infernapes in my life.
You gave your starter candies. What a gentleman. I threw him in the
Yep.
box. It's like,
Yeah, I
whatever.
fully evolved him first.
Nah.
Well, because like my reasoning was like, oh, next DLC, I'm looking forward to Totodile because I love that Pokemon. That's my second favorite starter next to Squirtle, which is also going to be available for the next DLC. So like, I'm gonna want to shiny hunt them, and then I'll be happy. So like, again, them just a regular starter being added to this DLC was kind of just like meh,
Yeah, it's a teaser, right? Little
I
teaser.
guess so.
But to your point, yeah, it should be a Suian. But yeah, it's not the worst. And I do think they won't do this. I know they won't. But you guys mentioned, it's thought, but you guys mentioned that there's 3 areas. They very well could let you bring that starter back over to Kitakami because you have to buy both DLCs. So they know the functionality is there. You can always bring it back to one of those regions and then evolve it into a Hisuian Pokemon. So it's possible. They could do that. They could let you bring your Oshawott back down to DLC 1. Like, hey, go over to that pond area and evolve them. There you go. So, not out of the woods just yet. Not out of the woods just yet. But speaking of woods, now I'm in the Segway seat now. We got to get a move on. We didn't talk about the photo mini game for Perrin. So we're going to just combine all the mini games that we could have done in a DLC into one super segment that I'm calling from the direct the multiplayer bash segment. Yeah, baby, it's all here. It's at the photo game, which is not multiplayer, but is a game nonetheless. So, you finish the main story, you have something to do, right? How did we feel, for one, about the photo game?
I thought it was fun.
I did, yeah, I thought so too.
It was like a pleasant switch from like normal gameplay. It was nothing special, don't get me wrong, but like I like the little quick Pokemon Snap mini game and interacting. I like Dark Forest at night, like as a fictional environment.
Yeah.
So like walking around and seeing like Duskull or like other Pokemon like sleeping, or like even like simple stuff like Quagsire and just hanging out in the water at night. Like I enjoy seeing Pokemon in their natural habitat, just doing things. So it was fun to me. Even like the annoying Hoot that I was trying to get a picture of, and he kept flying from tree to tree.
Yep.
Without stopping.
Yep.
Like
I'd shoot that guy.
I enjoyed that. And it was a nice change of pace because they literally could have just done like Pokemon is just a button simulator.
Yeah.
They could have just had me talk to people, walk around and pressing A until I fought something and pressed A and won.
Yep.
So they
Yep.
switched it up a bit. So
Exactly.
nothing crazy, but it was fun.
Johnny.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as David. I thought it was fun. Again, nothing super special, but I am happy with the fact that they didn't just throw a Pokemon for you to fight. Because once she was like, "Okay, go take pictures in this dark, scary forest without any sort of help," I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of the Spinark on the tree. Gyarados is gonna hop out. Ooh, scary! Then I gotta battle him and beat his ass real quick, and then so on and so forth." So I'm happy they didn't do that and you actually just get to take pictures. Um and parent even asks you once you finish the pictures, like, "Oh, how did you, format your pictures?" And one of the options is like, "Oh, I wanted to capture them in their natural habitat," which I'm also on board for. I like seeing the Pokemon have character outside of the fact that they have moves that do battle and they have types. I
Yeah.
like having that aspect of Pokemon because that's the magic of the game. Is that there's all these Mon that have a character to them. That's what Pokédex entries are for. So it was nice to see that, and it was nice to actually take a time out of the game to kind of do that. And it also kind of gave me Arceus vibes in a sense, because like you didn't battle the Pokemon, you like kind of had to sneak up on them and capture them, sort of thing. So like when she said like, "Oh, don't try to make any noise or anything," like, "Oh, we get to actually sneak around like Arceus," like it kind of reminded me of that sort of thing. So it was a cool thing.
For sure. Yeah. No, first of all, you guys really should play Pokemon Snap. Viewers, please. It's a very good game. It's all of that you guys are talking about and more. It's great. Secondly, you mentioned Arceus. You know what I really liked about this mini game? The background music was man, it was the name escapes me of the forest music. Oh my god, the Gen 4 forest music. Somebody, please. What is that forest called? But
Eterna?
what? Yeah, Eterna Forest. It was the background music from Arceus. Not
I
like
didn't even notice.
yeah, it was that
I didn't
song
know
playing the
either.
entire time, and I was like, oh my god, this is like so cool that they even put this track back in, and nothing for them. It cost them nothing to do, but it was just that right amount to make this game or the photo section like a very nothing game. Like, oh, this is actually a really cool moment. Like we're walking around, like you said, just taking these nice just a chill moment to listen to this music and just take some pictures. And I really enjoyed that 5 minutes I had of the game. It reminded me that Arceus exists and that Snap exists, because actually the next day I played Pokemon Snap again, and I'm really enjoying playing that game again. But just I don't know, it was a cool little mini game they had in this DLC. So kudos for them for doing that, and giving cred to Arceus where it's due. That soundtrack is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even bringing back the Alpha Pokemon battle
Yeah.
music for Ursaluna, just like a little side note. That was really cool. I did notice that.
Yeah, like really cool stuff. And that's why I'm thinking like they have to bring back Perrin for something in a DLC too, and anything, because I don't know, something about that world was just. Actually, was a good game. Like everyone should either have tried it or just buy a copy. Don't even play it. Just buy a copy. Let them know.
I think if anything, Perrin might introduce like the rest of the Hisuian
Like going
forms.
forward, because that would make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Because like she wants you to raise the Growlithe. Like we didn't talk about it, but she gives you a Hisuian Growlithe after you complete her mission fully.
Yep.
And she wants you to raise it up so the next time you guys battle, you guys can have a Ditto or whatever. So that's why I think she's going to grab the other Hisuian Mon and just have a full team of them.
Yeah.
And then in Indigo Disc, you're just going to be able to capture them. So maybe you're right, kind of linking the two together about bringing your old bringing another starter back to Kitsukame to evolve it to Hisuian form, or even in Indigo Disc. That's something that they can do. That'll be interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So I hope that they do that now, actually.
Hopefully they see that that's that's actually a chain that's another game they can link together, and they actually go for it and do that, because it's that's a really easy concept for them to do. So I say go for it. And yeah, hopefully more Perrin in the future. But that was the photo game. Great stuff. Looked like some effort was really put into making sure that like environment looked good and everything. So let's talk about something that I'll give them points too for. I really did enjoy Ogre Ousting. Not gonna lie. I know if you guys don't have 4 people, it's not as fun. I understand. Some of y'all, don't know how to gather enough people to play this game. I get it. Some of you Violet players, I see you out there. But no, I do actually think Ogre Ousting, for what it gives you and what the game actually is not a bad little mini game they put together. And I know during the story they force you to do it once, but they don't tell you what you get for continuing to do the other modes, which is very much worth it. But before we get into that, thoughts on Ogre Ousting? I enjoyed it. It's actually a nice little challenge for 4 people to do.
So I only did the one that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to it. However, I did watch you play it. And the reason I didn't continue going with Ogre Ousting is the very first mission for it, I think, is a bad representation of what to expect when you continue playing it.
I agree.
Because it was super easy, extremely easy. At least in my opinion, to like beat the record or whatever. So for me, it was kind of just like, oh, I don't want to continue doing this because this was like no sweat. Like it was like I always phrase it as like lean back in your chair and like kind of autopilot sort of type of thing.
Yeah.
So like I didn't really get interested in it, but after watching you play it, it looked like it could be fun with more people, just because of how chaotic it is. There is strategy to it, like there's levels to it that I wasn't expecting when I first played it. So I think that they presented it kind of badly, especially for the prizes you can get from it. So other than that, like I don't really feel like I have enough information to give a better opinion on it.
Yeah, just
other
your
than what I
thoughts
played.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So from what I played, it seemed okay, but after watching it, it's interesting, is what I'll say.
Fair enough. David, same thing. Didn't really care for it.
It's okay. If anything, it just made me hate Greedent more. Send tweet.
Hey, that's a plus in my book. We hate Greedent here.
And we also hate him in Unite, thus connecting the...
Oh my god. Unite Disc?
The worst teammates?
I'm not posting a screenshot, but yes, it's pretty high up there.
Yeah, but the game wasn't like horrible or anything, and it did give you something else to do. I just wasn't interested in playing it after about 2 or 3 times. It didn't really switch up the gameplay flow that much.
That's fair. But I will say what'll probably entice you is what you get for completing Ogre Ousting. Well, yeah. So obviously easy mode is nothing to write home about. I think it's like, I don't even remember what it is. It doesn't matter. It's probably some nuggets and stuff, but really, every time you complete a mode from easy, normal, and hard, you are given a reward for completing that entirely. So normal mode will give you a fairy feather, which boosts all fairy type moves, which, we were kind of looking for a fairy, not looking, but like the fairy boosting move the fairy boosting item had not existed until now. So it's kind of besides fairy plate. But it's nice to have a dedicated item for that, I guess. But the real prize is when you complete hard mode and you are given a shiny Munchlax that can get the jumbo mark. So after completing all of that, you'll be given that. Cool little prize. Obviously, if you want to use Snorlax, you can. Good luck in this meta. You've been very much outclassed, but it's nice to have you around, I guess. A shiny is a shiny, right? But I think the real winner here is what you get for just playing the game with Mochi. Every time we try to put together a tournament, or we try to do something for content here on the channel, or just for in our own free time, we have to obviously train up Pokemon and get them ready for a competitive scene. And that costs a lot of money in this game. Like buying 26 proteins is $260,000 in game. And money's not kind of easy to come by. The only real method we had, really now, was going to the Paldea tournament and competing in that, or the Mesagoza tournament, whatever it's called, and doing that. And you use Goldingo and you make it rain, and you make about 100K per thing. You just mash A through the entire thing a couple of times to generate money. Now that we can use Mochi as a replacement for vitamins, that at least won't be a method we have to use as much, because Mochi does the exact same thing as vitamins. If you play around with like 3 or 4 people, you're guaranteed to get like 10 of each Mochi. And they also have a Mochi that resets all your EVs, which I don't know how this happened, but we didn't have that throughout the entirety of this game's since this game's release. We didn't have a way to reset EVs without using the berries, which I think is crazy. But end of the day, like, that in itself makes the game worth it for me, because I want to get all the Mochi I can, so that next time I have to build a Pokemon, it takes me no time at all, rather than having to go grind money for a day or two and then come back and then give them the vitamins they need. So for me, huge deal. I can do without the shiny Munchlax, but I need that Mochi. But that's my big thought on it. Like, it's a pretty good mini game with a pretty good reward, so you can easily generate stuff that's actually worthwhile while you're playing a pretty okay mini game. But my thoughts on it. And obviously I have the most to say because I've done the multiplayer and did everything for that. But I thought it was a good time.
Yeah, I remember again when I said I was watching you do it. I even asked you about it because I'm just like, are you really just doing all this just for the Munchlax? And you told me like, no, like you get Mochi from it. And I initially, without me doing more research in the game, I thought Mochi was kind of like the feathers
Right.
in the game. Like they only give you 1 point. You told me they're like vitamins, and I was like, oh shit, that's good because it gives you a method to do something in the game that doesn't require as much grinding. Like, sure, you kind of have to grind it a little bit, but it's not as much for sure. It definitely cuts down on time, and it's definitely more interesting than just a mashing.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it is obviously like a perk of paying for the DLC. Clearly, they put it behind DLC for that reason, but it is nice to have since I paid for it. I will say that. I think similar to the Isle of Armor, they had like a item generator and some other ways to get some meta items for a lot easier and cheaper. So, it's that same boat, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better than just grinding money for a tournament. Just because the amount of time it takes to even just get like 2 sets of Pokemon done is insane.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's a good change, and I'm glad that it's a reason to actually do Ogre Ousting other than just the shiny Munchlax.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that was Ogre Ousting, and so the final thing I want to count as a mini game, but it's got ogres in it, so that's cool, right? So like we had mentioned before, this is not the competitive portion of the DLC pack, but they do want to at least give you a little piece or let people know that yes, your little fun little team you made in the main game that you thought you was slinging out there, taking dubs left and right against the trainers with 1 Pokemon. We got to remind y'all that Ursaluna and Urshifu and Tornadus and all the other bears are out there. So we'll give you a taste with the Ogre Clan battles. And, 8 trainers scattered throughout the DLC region. And you fight them, and they all have 4 Pokemon of fairly good competitive team builds. And yeah, you lock them down, you beat one, you get items for it. And, I thought it was a pretty good challenge, in my opinion. Especially since I was running with fighting types.
Yeah, I sweeped them, bro. Clodsire sweep. So you a stronger one for me for using all fighting type. I just threw Clodsire at him, and yeah, Earthquake killed all of them, pretty much.
Well, I will say I got that
That's the
shiny.
electric one.
I got that shiny Mienfoo. Oh, the electric one was easy. Like you rolled up with a Raichu. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Joseph. Raichu light screen.
Oh my god. It's never been used before. It's unheard of.
Joseph prepped me for it, bro.
Oh my god. So I will say, like, on my fighting team, I had a Mienfoo and a Gallade who didn't have access to his moves yet because I was being lazy. So a lot of those fights were like, hey, go in, use Psycho Cut, get that free Dubsky, and then just get outsped and die. Oh, all right, bro. Never mind. Let's let the main characters get in here and do some work. But yeah, no, I'll be honest. After I defeated the electric one, I fought the fairy guy, and he started with the Grimmsnarl, and I was like, oh, whatever. He's gonna set up, and of course he did. And he got cooked, and then he brought out, and then I wasn't expecting a fairy type for the rest of that match, but every single Pokemon after that was fairy and just spamming Moonblast, and I really did get cooked because I almost died. It was not good. It was not a good look, but no, I thought, like, because those people, like, they obviously frustrated, all that stuff, but then you fight what was it, the Rain team? What did he have?
Dude, that was annoying.
That was annoying.
You have the
That was
Polytoad.
With the Polytoad, yeah.
Polytoad, Dreadmaw. Who else?
Ludicolo with Swift Swim.
Ludicolo, Swift Swim. Yep.
Yeah, I got reminded that sometimes they can put a competitive team, just let an AI do all the work.
Yeah.
But man, rain teams. How I forgot ye. So
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate because I had my. I didn't cheat, but I had my Hisui and Samurott.
Nah, all else failed, bro. Ogerpon, Ivy Cudgel. All
Hey,
else failed.
yeah,
That
All
move's
else
crazy.
failed. Dude, it's so good.
so funny.
He's so, like, Ogerpon, it's like, even, I'm sorry to bring it back to him, but he's just strong. He's good. He has a good attack stat.
Yeah, no, it's a good Pokemon. I think what it's got its specialty move, and honestly, its move pool isn't bad either. I know it's mostly fighting and grass types, but I mean, spiky shield with grassy glide. Like, I mean, there's tools in there. It's a good grass type.
Yeah.
Rare.
Tragic, but yes. Did you all struggle against the normal type ogre clan person?
What did he have? Snorlax and
Snorlax.
stuff. Oh well, I didn't. I had the fighting types.
So that was one of the fights that I had to switch off of Clodsire into Komodo with close combat. So no.
So I didn't have a Pokemon with the fighting type move at all. So the Snorlax fully set up on me.
Oh my god.
And the only reason I won that fight is because my second to last Pokemon was my Coughing, which in the DLC, I don't know why so many Pokemon have moves that kill themselves, but the Litwicks and the Coughings have Memento, but the Coughings also have Destiny Bond.
No way.
So the only way I finished them all, because I didn't check its move, I just caught it because you fight him on the same mountain, you catch him.
Mm-hmm.
I Destiny Bonded Snorlax, he one shot at Coughing. It was Raps.
It was Raps after that. Yeah, as a quick side note, but yeah, even Sinistea has Memento. So good luck catching him at level 60 level and hoping you get the first turn ball catch. But I'll say less.
Yeah, it was a breath of fresh air with the challenge of some of these battles. They weren't impossible. They didn't feel like cheap, but like some people had focus sashes and some people had like one or two Pokemon just for setup or for like stall and stuff. So it was like a good change of pace, and it's good to know that they can make AI that can at least potentially present a challenge for you.
Yeah, exactly. How did you feel about? Oh, sorry, John, you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say, like, I think one of them had a bear. I think the normal type had a berry that stopped the super effective fighting type move, something like that. Just to talk about items, which is like something you don't really see AI use in general
No.
is Pokemon items.
Yeah. No, it gave me a lot of I guess back in the day Battle Tower vibes. So yeah. How do we feel about the last guy though? Because that was I'm sure we were all very prepared by that point to just beat his ass, but his team was actually pretty like it wasn't a bad team. I mean, besides starting with Toxic Spikes, I thought that was a big LOL. But you know,
Dude, Gengar Toxic Spikes.
I was like, bro, like your sweeper, you designate him speed setter. I'm like, oh,
So it's funny because I got worried when I first saw the Gengar come out because I forgot what Pokemon I threw out first, but I know I wasn't outspeeding that fucker.
right.
So I was like, if he does anything, I'm deleted. Luckily, he put Toxic Spikes out, and I deleted him.
Yep.
So
He was a dumbass. At least he was better than the champion.
yeah,
Did
better
turn
than
one. Although he does lose points because you can catch Glamoras in that region. So I'm like, you could have just used that. But anyway, I'll say less, King. You do what you got to do. So I'll be honest. After almost dying like 7 times, I was like, you know what? The fighting type team, we'll make modifications. So I called a Ninetales. Because Slitherwing gets a boost in attack in the sun. I was like, you know what? I'm making a sun team. So I roll up with Slitherwing, Hisuian Arcanine, Leafeon and Gallade, who both know Solar Blade.
Jeez.
And I forgot the last Pokemon, but it didn't matter. It never came out.
Bro.
I was like, all right. So he throws out the Gengar. And I'm like, oh no. I brought a Walking Wake. That was the last one. I was like, no, I'm ready to cook. I'm tired of getting my ass beat. So I roll up. I got the Ninetales out, and it was ratchet to that. Nothing stood more than a turn, except, and I will give him credit, the Eviolite Dusclops. The Eviolite Dusclops. And I was like, he whipped out I was like, ain't no way he's got Eviolite in this. This is deep cut for Pokemon. And I'm like, all right, I gotta test this. And I hit him as hard as I could, half. I'm like, ain't no way. I started backing up.
Yeah, I was kind of shook actually. Now that you mentioned it, because I had Mimikyu on my team, and he lived play rough. Mind you, my Mimikyu is like almost 100.
Yeah.
So I was like, ain't no way he living this, bro. He should be gone.
He's a criminal.
Wait, how'd you all know he had Eviolite? Because I one-shot him with my modest max special attack Fluttermane Shadow Ball.
So I only believe this because I did not one-shot him with my In the Sun Choice Specs Hydro Steam from Walking Wake.
Jesus.
Yes,
right.
he and granted, my Walking is not level 100. It's like level 75. So we're about comparable levels. But anything else getting hit by that was dead. Like there's no way unless he had just, which they do have. It seemed like they had like at least some IVs in their stuff, but nothing lives that. Come on.
Same thing with me with my Mimikyu. Like my Mimikyu again is almost level 100, and stab play rough killed everything in the game. Not even just like DOC. Like it carried me into Pokemon League too.
Right.
So like it was just like, why does this live? Of all the things he has, why Dusclops?
Okay, y'all are right. It does have Eviolite. I just looked it up.
That's crazy, dude. Like
It's pretty funny.
why would they out of all things to pull out of meta, why'd they pull that? Is it that obvious?
That's something I had on my team in like high school.
Exactly.
They should have put Duraludon with Eviolite. Just give in to
That
it.
would have been a good tease. It's like, why is this thing living, first of all? Why is it here? Yeah, no, like he did, I'll give him props. I was like, oh, that's out of an actual person's bag. I'll give you credit, man. And no, it was a cool challenge. I enjoyed it a lot. I wish you could battle them again. I talked to him again. He was like, oh yeah, you came to visit us. I was like, yeah, I'm here to run the ones with you again. Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Oh yeah, no, we're done with that. I'm like, oh, man, come on. Yeah.
I will say something that I noticed, and I don't know if other people did, but I saved the cutscene Do you notice after he reveals to you he's the 8th trainer, they just completely swap his trainer
Yes,
model?
the model's completely
Yeah.
different. I was like, nice shirt, bro.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from? Which I'm thinking, like, why they have to switch the model? Like, was it because of the hat? It had to be because of the hat.
Well,
He
he
was
changes
bald.
clothes and skin color. So
So yeah. I mean, that part's obviously like, wow, that's really bad. But
Man,
like,
that disguise go hard. What do you mean? Halloween came early, bro.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was a little off. I was like, I don't know why they did that, but typical Pokemon fade to black and then like, oh look, I'm the same person. Like, no, you're not. Your character number is 1776, aren't you?
yeah, I was like, this is so whack. But anyway, it was a fun side quest. I wish you could fight him again. And even if they did like another thing where I could mash A and grind money, that would have been nice.
Oh,
I
I'd take
did
it.
like the riddles aspect of like asking him where the other one was.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought those were cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I'm in between province 1 and 5, bullshit.
Oh my god. Why are you so like that one's not that's not even the worst one from that mission.
Have you looked at where the provinces are? 1 is all the way to the right, 2 is on the left.
Yeah,
It was stupid.
Hold on. Nah, alright, let me set the record straight. It is 1 and 5, and 1 and 5's border is a straight ass line.
So I read it as I'm in between those provinces, meaning I'm in one of those provinces.
Oh,
like 1, 2,
I see.
5.
No,
So that's why I was pissed.
Mm-mm.
I understood it afterwards, but I was like, oh, either I'm dumb or
I think
this is dumb.
I think you just misread, that's all.
Nah, this is dumb. Smarty Blue.
Alright, Perrin.
Get him out of here.
But I think that's everything for the DLC.
Yeah, we kind of already talked about where we think the DLC is going.
Okay.
There was a DLC too.
I will say, okay, maybe not for DLC 2, but as far as I do want to have my thoughts on Terra Crystals and Paradox Pokemon. And it sounds corny, but like, all right, so the mask, Ogerpon's mask have Terra Crystals in them, right? And it gives them a power boost. And it seems to be a power boost to defend itself, and as a mask, right? It's a big old shield comes up and everything. We know that the Terra Crystal to do with the Paradox Pokemon showing up. So it seems to me that and this is my tin hat theory, that the Terra Crystals don't necessarily have a power for like time travel or anything like that. It's almost like magic, right? Like they have the ability to turn desires into reality in a sort of sense. Because they seem to have all these different effects. They do everything, right? They give mask powers to allow them to do things. They bring time machine to bring Pokemon to the future or from the future or past, even though they don't resemble things even though they're from a book, right? They're like fantasy, someone's imagination to make them real and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see if they do anything with that for DLC 2 when we eventually go back to Area 0. Like that's as far as my theory crafting as the full scope goes. And whether that will play a part into Kieran's intense emotions to be a better, stronger person.
I have a theory about like the Terra Crystals. I wasn't talking about my theory about Ms. Bryce. I know I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
But I wanted, since you mentioned the Terra Crystals, so here's what I think. So I don't know how versed you guys are in the whole Pokemon lore thing, but if you guys know, there's essentially 2 timelines to Pokemon. So there's one where the Pokemon War happens and one where it doesn't, and because of Z's weapon or whatever his name is,
Ass.
Huh?
Ass. AZ.
Oh, yeah, AZ. So
Why?
when he made that weapon,
No, it's Z.
It's Z?
Oh my god.
Let's
I don't
go.
know.
No!
Either way, the dude made the weapon and it split the timeline in 2. One of them made Megastones, one of them did not. That's the whole part of like the whole.
Yeah, it's the no fairy type timeline, the fairy type timeline. Yeah.
So what I think is happening with Terra Crystals is I think the whole Terra idea is a byproduct of that weapon, and because that weapon was used to split a timeline, I think these Paradox Pokemon are exactly what they are, just Pokemon from a different timeline altogether, not past or future, just timelines altogether. So I think that's if they do explore that, I think that might be too like quote unquote deep for them just to kind of throw in there. If they do, awesome. But that's what I think is going to happen with the Terra Crystal specifically, is they are going to relate that aspect of Pokemon lore of the timeline splitting into the main game and explain that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's my theory on that. But my theory on Miss Briar, big Smarty Blue moment. I think Miss Briar, if she does become a villain, is gonna be part of Team Rocket. And here's why I say that.
What?
So I say part of Team Rocket because we get a lot of Gen 2 Pokemon, right?
Sure.
Inside the Kitakami DLC.
Mhm.
So Gen 2 is also the main villain, or the villain of Gen 2 is Team Rocket as well.
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
So you put the two together, right? Team Rocket's there, and Ms. Breyer's doing research on it, and David kind of sparked this too, saying like, "Oh, she's doing research and is okay with kind of putting everybody else to the wayside for this goal. What if she really likes Giovanni, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm doing this for my boy Gio, and Giovanni pops up with the Persian that the Glitteroni people have, that's alluded to too. So look, man." She's part of Team Rocket. She loves Giovanni. Giovanni's coming back. Shout out Team Rocket. All right, I'm done.
I'm going to debunk your entire theory by inputting my own theory. So I think Miss Briar, because first off, she says that that Professor Heath, who wrote or whatever he like basically wrote the Scarlet Book.
Yeah.
Or
the Violet Book for you losers. Anyway.
Yeah. She's like a distant relative to him. My theory is, and this is because of like her eye shape and such, I think she might be another AI, like AI Sada or Turo. Because and I doubt that their writing team is this good, but this is just like fun to think about. But just like the way that she was so quick to like abandon her job and like the students and stuff just for the sake of Terra research, it seemed kind of like how like some machines are like very like lacking in like
the very directive sense.
Yeah, they're very direct and they're lacking like human emotions. Like the moment like her goal or purpose could be fulfilled, she immediately jumped toward that. So I thought that was an interesting theory, and I don't want it to be true for reasons, but it also would just be cool to kind of expand upon what they didn't get to do in what I believe to be the Force ending with Turo and Sada's AI forms, and it would also really help in a narrative sense with the whole like these corrupt or obsessive researchers or obsessive characters failing to reach their goals. So I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting too. But what if she's also part of Team Rock?
Team Rocket made that.
Yo, hey, hold up. If that actually is a twist,
what if it was Team Rainbow Rocket, and that's why we have the Terra crystals in the different types?
Hey, wait, time out.
No, we ain't bringing back Rainbow Rocket. Oh,
time
yes,
out.
to your
Time out,
point.
bro.
Because it sucked.
In an alternate universe where Giovanni defeats the hero, bro, that's crazy. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously I think these theories are really cool. I do I don't want to give Pokemon more excuses to be Gen 1 posting, but I do think that would be cool to have Giovanni in some sort of sense, I guess. But then we'd have Hijacked by Giovanni, which would be pretty funny, I guess. The whole plot is just behind him again, as usual. The Mafia strikes again. But it's cool theories all around. I hope we get something on those levels when we go back to Area Zero, because I mean, I think we can all agree that is and still is the best part of Scarlet and Violet is the Area Zero scenario. It is so. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to finish that story off on a bang with a bang. So if anything like that would happen, I'd be satisfied. But I want more. I want more Area Zero. I want more Paradox Pokemon too. I know we're probably not
Oh,
gonna
man,
get
I
them,
hope.
but
I
like,
hope.
please give us more Paradox Pokemon. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It prints themselves.
I was gonna say though, like all jokes aside, with with the information we have, the route that I think is most likely is like, again, I do think Miss Briar is gonna be the bridge to Terapagos, right?
All right.
And I think that Kieran in his villain arc type shit is going to be the main villain. I think he's going to be the main villain of the DLC, which is going to suck.
Boo.
It's going to
Boo.
suck.
Yeah,
He's
it's
gonna
super-
rage and
Um,
punch a crystal. Who cares?
Yeah,
Ow, my
well,
fisty.
like I was gonna say, like something like that might happen where he goes to her, like he already showed this a little bit, but he's gonna go to a forbidden area that he's not supposed to go into, get caught up into something, meet some evil Pokemon that he's gonna bond with because they're conniving or whatever, and then he's gonna become
Terrakion.
the big baddie.
Ooh,
Yeah,
you think Terrakion? I think it's the version exclusive. Like we would get Miraidon that we didn't get, and we have to fight that, which would be lame.
that could be interesting.
That would actually be kind of cool.
I mean, we have to get. I mean, the fact they haven't given us the other version exclusive one yet, like they have to do something there. I think.
Yeah, either that or he's gonna bring back old Shadow Pokemon. We're gonna Shadow Terapagos. Let's go,
Alright.
baby.
All right, bro. Come
Nah.
on. Your hopes are way too high.
They can barely code Terra correctly. We're not getting no other type.
You're right. We get no good animations for Pokemon attacks.
Oh well,
We just
knew
get
weren't getting
PNG
that.
moving.
Hey, back to basics. Gen 10.
Oh,
Remove
man.
the 0.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's all I got as far as like theories. The one I just said is like what I actually think is gonna happen. If Miss Briar does do the whole Team Rocket thing, it would be hilarious if I was right, but I don't think it's likely.
You never
Something
know.
that I can confirm without it being confirmed. She's gonna have a Bramble gas.
Man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, she could.
Go look at her official art. I promise you, she looks like Bramble gas.
I mean, she's got some of the browns in there, right? So it's not like impossible. No other significant character has one. So
No,
Do we
look at her eyes and look at Bramble gas eyes. Trust.
Do we know where she's
Viewers,
from?
I need you all to do this.
where's she from?
No, because like
We
I was
don't,
thinking,
actually.
like, okay, but I don't think she's from Paldea. So if she does have
she
a team,
teaches in Unova.
She teaches and but we don't know where she's from.
She's AI.
she's gonna have Yveltal or Evil Tail. How do you say it? I don't know.
That way.
Pokemon Y.
Yeah, that way. Okay.
If she has a legendary, I don't know, bro. I don't think 10-year-olds are ready to deal with legendary.
It's gonna have it has to have 0 IVs for the kids.
Yeah.
RB scripted battle.
Actually, I don't
like,
know, bro. Because I don't know if you guys played. I don't know if you guys played Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. The last battle for that, man, that is not an easy fight. I'm not saying it's hard because only one Pokemon, but
I played Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. It was definitely up the difficulty compared to other Pokemon games.
yeah. So they might do something like that. I mean, the Eva's whole thing is kind of like, all right, I guess, but possibly, if it is your theory with the Ass's War Machine,
It could be. You never know, man.
you never know. Well, yeah. Well, I guess we'll end with final thoughts on DLC 1. It sounds like overall it was pretty good to all of us, right? Nothing like super crazy, like, oh man, it restored my love and Generation 9. Because I'll be honest, we didn't mention it, but all the glitches and the bugs and stuff, those are all still there. Oh my god. Oh no, we did forget one thing. So David, we know you did everything. You completed the Pokedex, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about what you get for that?
Yeah, so
Just real quick. Doesn't have to be like a whole thing.
okay, so when you complete when you complete the Pokedex for this island, you get the Terra charm, and it increases how many Terra shards you get from raids.
Yes.
And you also, I will say, you also get a nice certificate with Kensugi Moriarty.
Oh, hey, okay, I'll take that. But I will say,
In game, of course.
well, yeah, I guess you can take a screenshot. I will say though that at Terra Charm, it doubles how many Terra Stars you get from raids, which
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. Again, I don't play competitive, but for those who need to grind out stuff for competitive stuff, that's pretty good. They already kind of gave us a bunch of Terra Stars as item drops on the ground, but doubling from raids, like you just get free. You'll never win again. You'll be eating good those Terra Shards. So it is definitely worth your time to complete the Pokedex. But besides that, I think we pretty much hit everything. Overall thoughts for DLC 1, I think, yeah, it's a pretty good DLC. And it is, well, currently this package deal has been worth the money if you enjoyed Gen 9, you get more of that for sure. So I would say it was worth my time and money. You guys?
Yeah, it was more of the same, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing, but it's not a bad thing. It makes me hopeful for the next DLC.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same boat. I bought this DLC because I knew it was out and I knew I was gonna get the second one, so I was like, okay, screw it, I'll play the first one. Because Gen 8 DLC 1 left a bad taste in my mouth. So I didn't come into this with a high expectation, but it definitely went above my expectation of what I thought was going to be in this. So positive.
Alrighty. Well, you heard it here first, guys, folks, ladies and gents. DLC 1, pretty okay, good even. So make sure, play it, enjoy it. It's a fun little time. The main story is not the meat and potatoes of it, I would say, probably. I mean, it's the meat, but there's plenty of potatoes afterwards. So check it out, and be sure to check in when we do our our thoughts on DLC 2 when that rolls out, coming this winter. They haven't given us a date yet. At least I don't think they have. I'm not that in tune with the news for Pokemon. I will get it when it comes out because I already paid for it. Before we go, Johnny Blue, where can we find you as you play your next, I don't know, whatever you play?
Yeah, so I got a few things planned, but you guys can find me at of course youtube.com. I'm on this platform as well. But youtube.com/Johnny Blue Gaming is where I'm at. You guys can find me there. I stream. Right now I'm mainly playing Valorant if you guys are interested in that. But I do have some other stuff planned. I have my own podcast that I'm starting up. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Thank you guys for having me. I had a lot of fun. You guys are homies, of course, outside of content world. But yeah, this was great.
That's right. We're homies in the outside real world. And aren't we just great? Aren't we just great, guys? We're fantastic. Yeah. We shit on them. We shit on them other guys. We're the best show around, the best network around. No one could beat us.
Where's the cut happening?